Yes, lads, it's the morning after, and the night before did not disappoint, not one bit. What a fight it was, and what a brutal knockout it was in the end. As always, if you do end up enjoying the video, then a like would always be appreciated. And let's get straight into the meat of this. Dillian Whyte, what an absolute masterclass. I told you he was going to knock him out. What did he do? He went in there, no messing about. He was body snatching yesterday, that's for sure. First round, he was all over him like a rash he couldn't get rid of. He tried Sudocrem, he tried all of that. POVETKIN wasn't getting him off in one bit. He was applying more pressure than an erection on skinny jeans, and eventually it told. He hit him with a couple of nice shots. Generally though, I don't know what was going on with POVETKIN, because he hit him with a couple of nice shots, but it just looked like he was off balance a bit. It looked like he aged about 30 years since the last fight. Last fight, sure, he was getting outclassed, but he looked like he could hold his own. This one gets hit with a couple of shots, and his legs were all over the gaff from the first bell. Maybe something had happened before. Maybe he was a bit ill-hydrated. I don't know what it was, but he didn't look right to me. And Dillian Whyte saw this, and he just kept laying on. POVETKIN was making him miss quite a few of those shots though, so he did connect with a couple of nice ones, but nothing enough to severely hurt him. The bell for the second round goes, and he is straight on him again. Rafinha-esque work rate by all accounts, absolutely leathering him with shots yet again. POVETKIN's managing to evade a couple of them, starts hitting with a few of his own shots, nothing really connecting though. And generally, Dillian Whyte, this is the round where he really made his body count. The size of the man, he outweighed him massively. He was leaning on him, he was pushing him around, and he was commanding everything in there. And whilst POVETKIN did look a bit dangerous, as the rounds went on, his danger just diminished, and this was the beginning of the end. Very early on for POVETKIN, he didn't really look like he was impacting much on the fight. He manages to survive until the break, and then it goes into the third round. They're panning over to the corners. You're looking at Dillian Whyte, and at this point I'm thinking, alright son, you got him in the bag here. You just don't do anything stupid. He could have just sat behind the jab. Let's be real here. I was listening to the commentators, and the whole time they were saying just sit behind the jab, because he was jabbing his face off. And I don't know if I heard something in the corner. I maybe my memory's serving me wrong here, but I feel like someone in the corner was telling him a similar thing. But you know what? He completely ignores that, because this is Dillian Whyte. He does not tactically do it. Very different to AJ. AJ's a bit more of a tactician in there. He got knocked out by Ruiz, and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to do the same thing. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to knock me out again. I'm going to dance around you and make you look like a fool that way. Dillian Whyte, nah mate, he's born from the streets. All he knows is fighting, all guns blazing attack. He goes straight out there, bang, haymaker after haymaker. KSI-esque the movement, the way he was swinging his arms around. Some sloppy shots you could say, but just going for broke from that third round. From the first round, but on the third round again, just going for broke, trying to hit that fatal shot, knock him out of there. Again, somehow POVETKIN evaded that, managed to escape, but that was it. That was all she wrote. The fourth round comes, boom, again the pressure hits him early on. I don't know how the hell POVETKIN doesn't go down. He's wobbling, he's really looking uncertain here, survives for another 10, 15, 20 seconds or so, and then bang, Dillian Whyte hits him with this brutal right hand. He stumbles back, really should have counted as a knockdown, fell straight into the ropes. If the ropes weren't there, he was going down like timber. He went absolutely flying back there, flings back in. Very bad for him that he flung back in, because he's almost knocked out at this point. He gets hit with a brutal shot, he falls all the way back into the ropes. Then the ropes fling him straight back into the path of Dillian Whyte, who hits him with another couple of bangs. Again, he's evading, he's trying to survive, but bang, one more shot. He's down into the other ropes this time, into the other side of the ring, gets up, and he is dazed. He's walking all over the gaff. He doesn't know what day it is. He doesn't know what the sun color is. He doesn't know anything. He is out of it. The referee waves it off, and that was an absolute masterclass by Dillian Whyte. The pressure was on. His career was on the line. Very similar to AJ. If he lost, it was like, who is this guy? Mickey Mouse fighter. He's not going to get his chance to get that world championship that he so wants, and the shot at getting it that he truly deserves. But you know what? He showed immense bravery, courage, passion, cojones, to quote Troy Deeney. He certainly had the cojones on him. Most immediate rematches usually end up going the way of the first one. They end up, whoever won the first one, they have that over him, they have that mental edge, and they end up just cruising through the second one. Very rarely do you see someone win an immediate rematch, and guess what? He did it, and he deserved it. He earned it. Should have probably won the first fight, like I said, but obviously, you know, POVETKIN's always there for that dangerous shot, and in that fight again, he was always there for that shot, but he just could not get it off because Dillian Whyte didn't allow him to. He didn't give him a second to move. He didn't give him any breathing space to work out that shot, to get his angles right. He was just straight on him, leathering him, throwing him about, bossing him about, and what a fight. But the question on everyone's lips now is, where does he go after this? Who does he fight next? Does he fight Deontay Wilder? Now, if you ask me, that's a very, very dangerous fight because Deontay Wilder can knock your lights out at any given second. And if he wants to play it safe, he probably won't fight Deontay Wilder because as long as he wins his next couple of fights and he just bides his time until this whole AJ Fury thing is finished, then he gets his guaranteed crack at one of them for the World Championship. If he does fight Wilder and he does lose, then that shot goes. And Deontay Wilder right now is a man who has nothing to lose. His credibility is in the mud after this whole Mark Breland situation, after getting absolutely dominated by Tyson Fury, and everyone's calling him some schmuck, despite the fact a year ago they were saying he's the best thing since sliced bread and he's the most brutal knockout artist they've ever seen in the heavyweight division. So which one is it? Well, I'll tell you, it's neither. People like to overgas things and then they like to undergas things when things go bad. But you know what? He's somewhere in the middle. He's an extremely lethal fighter. But you know what? His technique sometimes does leave a bit to be desired for. But that doesn't mean he's a bad fighter. It doesn't mean he's got bad technique. It just means he got beaten by one of the greatest heavyweights to ever grace the game. It's so funny how the tables have turned on Wilder though, because after the fight, Eddie Hearn comes out and he says, before this had all happened, before Wilder had lost his belt, he actually DM'd Dillian Whyte saying, I'm never going to fight you. I'm never going to give you the shot. And now that he's been knocked out by Tyson Fury, the tables have completely turned and he needs Dillian Whyte to get that shot again to maybe climb his way back up to fight Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. I know he could have had Tyson Fury already, but he called out of that one. So does he really want that fight, or is he hoping that AJ beats him and he gets a shot at him instead? I don't know, but he certainly needs that Dillian Whyte fight more than Dillian Whyte needs Deontay Wilder right now, in my opinion. Obviously, you could say Dillian Whyte's going to make a heap load of cash if he fights Wilder, which is a good point, which is probably what he should do. Even though I said if he wants an easy route to the title, then Deontay Wilder is not the man. However, look, this is Dillian Whyte we're talking about here, and Dillian Whyte does not do anything easy. He does not want an easy route to anything. He doesn't want a hand-me-down. He doesn't want a gift. He doesn't want anything. He wants to earn everything the hardest way possible, because that's the kind of character he is. Well, that's the kind of character I perceive him to be anyway, and I think he will go for the Wilder fight. And you know what? I back him. I hear all he's saying I can outclass him, I can outgun him. He's been saying this for years, for like 2-3 years now. He's saying, I have the beating of this man, and no one believed him at all throughout all of this. Now maybe he gets his shot. If he proves him wrong and he beats Wilder and then he fights for the world title after, oh boy, that fight's only going to be even bigger if he can prove himself there and fulfill his potential. So what a fight that could be. But who do you guys think he should fight? Because there's a couple of interesting propositions. There's the Wilder one, as I said. He could fight the winner of Joyce versus Usyk, although that winner of that is basically guaranteed a shot at the other world title belt. To be honest, I don't know how it's really going to work, because if he becomes mandatory for the WBC belt and Usyk becomes mandatory for the WBO or whatever the hell belt he's mandatory for, and there is an undisputed champion, who gets the shot first? Who gets the shot? I don't really get that. I mean, I presume one of them will be stripped. I'm pretty sure that will happen because Usyk will become interim champion. So I presume if one of those two don't want to fight him, then he will just instantly be promoted to the main heavyweight WBO champion. So I don't really know how that's going to work. Who will be the big boy in the division? And that is the problem with boxing, you could say, with the fact that there's so many different belts, unlike the UFC where there's like just one belt for each division, is that who is the big dog? Because even when someone does become undisputed, if there's so many mandatories from all these other organizations, it's virtually impossible to defend them all, because they're all like, they'll give you 30 days to fight this guy and then 30 days to fight that guy. But these big fights take so long to make, and then you need another like 6 to 8 week camp in between, that it just becomes unfeasible to defend all your belts. So this is what is really killing boxing at the moment, and has been killing it for quite some time. But anyway, I want to hear from you guys. How would you rate your top 5 heavyweights currently going? Obviously, your top 2 have to be Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. In whatever order you put them in, those two basically have to be there. And then 3rd to 5th, it's a toss-up. You've probably got to say Usyk over Joyce at this point. I don't think Joyce has proven enough to be put into that top 5 just yet. So it's basically between Wilder, Usyk, and Dillian Whyte. Who are you putting in that 3rd to 5th category? Who out of those lot? Would you put Deontay Wilder over them? Because out of all of those, he's the only one that's actually held the heavyweight championship. So generally, should he deserve to be there? I think you'd have to say on merit, yes. And then you'd probably put Dillian Whyte 4th and then Usyk 5th. Maybe Usyk above Dillian Whyte because of the raw skill and because of the fact he has been undisputed cruiserweight champion. But we're talking just purely heavyweight here. We're not talking about the skill he has and the boxing intellect, because obviously he's probably above quite a lot of people, maybe other than Tyson Fury. He's probably the best in the business. But when it comes to heavyweights, that size, that reach, everything they have above him, it makes a big difference in this day and age, because you got people like Tyson Fury who's 6'9", so it doesn't really matter how good Usyk is. If someone's got like a 6-inch reach on you and they're just beating you up, then there's not too much you can do. But anyway, how would you rate those guys? How would you rate Dillian Whyte's performance from yesterday, and how do you rate the heavyweight division going forward? It's a pretty exciting time to be a heavyweight fan right now, isn't it? That has been all for now, though. I'll keep you updated as more information about all these fights comes out in the future. But for now, thank you ever so much for watching. It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys, and I'll see you soon.